Tonight on MetroNews. Teachers begin 5 weeks of rolling strikes. What's got Christchurch Airport taking off? And why these cute dogs may not be the best pet.
Kia ora, good evening. Welcome to your local news, brought to you by the students of the New Zealand Broadcasting School.
Today kicks off rolling strikes around the country for secondary schools, with Year 9 teachers the first to walk.
This comes a week after 50,000 teachers took to the streets to fight for better pay and working conditions. I went back to school to find out why teachers claim the government needs to act now. Louise Davey has been teaching for almost 2 decades.
I get up about 6:30 in the morning, and I am here roughly about 7:15. And then after school, I usually have a meeting, and if I don't, then I have more work to do, and just getting myself organised for the next day as well. So I'll get home probably about 4:30 or 5 o'clock.
This is an average day for Louise. She says it's all work, no breaks, no lunch. Even the school holidays are full of work. Last break she went to a conference, then came home to plan for the next term. And money is another reason she supported the strike.
We just aren't valued enough.
But it's her well-being that suffers the most.
I know it's where I want to be, but at the same time I'm very aware that I'm becoming burnt out now.
Louise Davey says teachers are at breaking point and better pay, better conditions and a manageable workload are needed. They're hoping the wait will soon be over for the change they want to see.
I want to see more support for the children, so for example, I had a chair thrown at me last week, but there was nowhere to go for that child to deal with his anger issues.
Her role extends far beyond lesson time.
I don't have a counselling degree, but they need to talk to me about their home life and how awful that is, and that brings me down, to be honest. Some days, on my really bad days, I sit down and I think I've got to leave teaching.
There's no denying the role is testing.
The only reason that you would do this is for the passion for the children and wanting to see children grow.
Louise wants the government to learn that passion for the job simply isn't enough for teachers. Louise Denuth, MetroNews.
Christchurch has the dubious honour of being the worst city in the country for drivers and passengers failing to use seatbelts or correct child restraints. Jasmine Ning covering the story and joins us now. Jasmine.
Police here in Christchurch are making a special effort to target those not wearing seatbelts, and the reason they're doing that is because they're worried that people are dying needlessly by not belting up. They say seatbelts are the most effective but safest safety device in a vehicle.
When it comes to making it click, Cantabrians are the worst.
We definitely target drivers without seatbelts and children without seatbelts in Canterbury. If you don't have your seatbelt on, you'll get thrown, and that's where the most damage is caused.
Road policing data shows that last year, most areas in the country had fewer than 1,000 seatbelt offences, but Christchurch had more than 3,000 and nearly $450,000 in fines.
2017, a third of the fatal crashes in Canterbury, people were in seatbelts, and a significant number of those people would have survived if they'd actually had their seatbelt on.
It only takes 3 seconds, and police won't accept any excuses if you or anyone in your car fails to make it click. They say the consequences are too high to ignore.
They don't feel like they need it. Oh, we're travelling at a low speed on a suburban road, so I won't need it. But the impact of, say, someone driving at 50 kilometres an hour and hitting a stationary object is like falling 10 metres down straight onto concrete.
While Christchurch belted up the least, Counties Manukau was the second worst and Hamilton the third.
I basically woke up from an induced coma with all my limbs broken. I had brain injury.
The New Zealand Transport Agency has been running a hard-hitting ad campaign, saying seatbelts save lives.
Had I not been wearing a seatbelt, I would have gone through the windscreen. So I was very, very lucky.
Seatbelts are very cheap, but probably the most effective tool for keeping you safe in a vehicle, and there's no excuse not to wear one.
The key message, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Besides being dangerous, not wearing a seatbelt can be expensive. You'll be fined $150 if the police catch you without one on, or if your child is not properly restrained in a vehicle. Here in Christchurch, police say the main culprits appear to be tradies, who tend to be more focused on their work rather than road safety.
Thanks, Jasmine. A commitment to a climate emergency by the City Council has left many with the welfare of the planet on their minds. Now Christchurch Airport is doing its bit by reducing carbon emissions. Isaac Gunson reports.
Change is on the horizon for Christchurch Airport with its pledge to cut down on its Scope 1 carbon emissions.
Scope 1 emissions are our direct emissions, the ones that we're directly responsible for. So what we're on a pathway to do is reducing 90% of our Scope 1 emissions by October this year.
The airport plans to cut its diesel usage by over 1 million litres a year. Firstly, by using thermal warmth from an underground aquifer to heat and cool the terminal, and also switching to electric vehicles.
And that is the majority of our carbon footprint. So by October this year, we'll no longer be burning that diesel.
One change already made, using electricity instead of diesel to power planes on the tarmac.
Basically, they're big extension cords that allow us to run a cord out to an aircraft and plug it into the main system.
Air New Zealand estimates that it saved 2.5 million litres on fuel during 2018 by plugging their planes into jet ground power units while they're on the tarmac in either Auckland or Christchurch. Now that's enough fuel for 20 additional flights between Auckland and Los Angeles. Of the 7 Trans-Pacific airlines operating in and out of Christchurch, a report into fuel efficiency rates has Air New Zealand as one of 3 making the grade, while another 4 are not up to standard, with Qantas at the bottom. Malcolm Johns says while our local airline is doing well, others have work to do.
Our view is, rather than beating people up for what they haven't achieved, our view is how we encourage people to keep trying to achieve.
And part of that encouragement includes the airport joining the Climate Leaders Coalition last year.
So my suggestion to those other airlines would be to join this group and to commit to reducing their carbon emissions.
Although Christchurch Airport is urging airlines to take action, it recognises it's not a quick fix and could take decades. Isaac Gunson, MetroNews.
And while the airport is doing its part, students are fighting for a nationwide change. They're hoping the government will follow a number of city councils and declare a climate emergency. Elizabeth Thompson joins us now. Elizabeth.
Scientists are warning of mass disasters if change isn't made. Here in New Zealand, 3 councils have already declared climate emergencies. But students around the country see that as just the beginning and have made it clear they want action, not words.
One more time, 2, 3, 4, climate action is now, do it!
It's an emergency. Thousands of students across the country are demanding change to save the planet.
I'm just turning all their words into proper action.
We need them to declare a stronger carbon zero bill.
I want the government to take action that befits the crisis that climate change really is.
They are angry, passionate and ready to make leaders listen.
Our planet is in crisis and we need bold, urgent action.
And it seems a growing number of city councils across the country are hearing their call.
Well, it was a huge majority of council who voted in favour of the resolutions. Basically, we believe that our city and our world is at a stage where in fact this is indeed like an emergency.
The urgency of climate disruption.
They're all hoping the rest of New Zealand will follow suit, a move supported by the Greens.
I would absolutely support the New Zealand Parliament, again drawing a line in the sand. Because when you listen to the scientists, it's clear we are in emergency conditions.
But for local MP Duncan Webb, words are not enough.
Look, I think what we need is action. If by declaring a climate emergency that leads to action, that's great. But just declaring something doesn't achieve anything. So let's take action, and I think that's what we're doing.
Rise up and share your voices. Student organisers are now hoping their voices will be taken seriously in Wellington. But there have been problems getting the government involved. National recently blocked a move to declare a nationwide climate emergency. As you can imagine, Greens co-leader James Shaw is disappointed and believes Parliament must commit to urgent action. As for the students on their Facebook page, they say they're frustrated and are planning more strikes.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Coming up, Huskies are more popular than ever, but are they the best pet?
And could the World Rally Championships head our way?
My name's Nicole and I'm head of production for Capital FM Network, doing TV, I'm doing online, I'm doing event audio, and I'm working with a team of 8 people We make everything. Every single sweeper, ident, thing that says what radio station you're listening to, what TV station you're watching. Broadcasting school put me in a scenario where I had to figure things out. Hands-on learning, getting stuck in, teaching yourself stuff. It also prepared me for the sorts of people that you come in contact with in media and how to deal with situations, especially high stressful situations. The great thing was the tutors were really encouraging and really helpful. They were like senior members of staff in a real radio station. Nowhere else will you get hands-on learning that actually lands you in a real radio station doing real work as part of the course. I have freelanced at some fantastic places and made some really good friends just from being able to turn up and be nice and polite and professional. All of those things is what broadcasting school was really good at versing you in. Being in London, it's a melting pot of creativity and ideas and people. I'm doing stations in Iceland, Germany, America, New Zealand still, which is wonderful. I can't say I expected it to be quite like this, but it's awesome.
Welcome back. With Game of Thrones taking the world by storm, everyone wanted their own husky. But because many people don't know what they're getting into, hundreds of dogs are ending up in rescue centres. Timmy Applin-Barrett joins us now with more. Timmy.
You can understand why people want these dogs so much. They fall in love with the cute little puppies. But what people don't understand is how big and high maintenance these dogs are going to become. Within a year, many people simply can't cope, and the dogs are suffering.
They look just like the direwolves on TV, and that's made them very popular.
We've had a 700% increase in rehoming worldwide since Game of Thrones.
And like their television cousins, huskies aren't that easy to look after.
So he had no food, no water, no shelter, no protection from the sun, and for huskies that's really dangerous. Poppy was a serious neglect case. Poppy came to us to her first foster at 7 kilograms. Now for an adult dog that's just insane. She was 2 years old and 7 kilograms.
Husky Rescue New Zealand is one of 71 shelters doing all they can to help these dogs. But it's a big job.
We're all chock-a-block full.
And because the puppies are so cute, lots of people are breeding them, and that's causing problems.
He's a typical problem as far as backyard breeding is concerned as well, because he is... hey Max. He's actually got problems with his eyes. So he's already 50% blind.
Other countries register dogs, breeders and owners, something she'd like to see here. Otherwise, those buying dogs don't take it seriously.
It's not an instant gratification thing, because if you can instantly get it, you can instantly dump it.
Over the last 10 years, more than 1,000 huskies around the country have needed new homes, and it means the rescue centre is expanding and there are plenty of dogs for responsible owners.
If you meet all of the criteria, you can adopt one of these for $300. They're fully vaccinated, microchipped and desexed.
Not only that, they're a whole lot of fun.
But you don't have to take a dog home. The centre will let you spend some time with one on site. You can choose your dog, take them running, or even head out onto the sledding track. Another plan for the huskies is to help people dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, because as studies show, working with animals can really help your mental health.
Thanks, Timmy. Canterbury rally drivers are excited the World Rally Championships could be returning to New Zealand. Even though any race is likely to be in the North Island, local fans see it as a bonus. Stephen Walton reports.
Action in the Ashley Forest. New Zealand's top rally drivers tackling North Canterbury's backcountry roads.
Watching cars on shingle is a lot more exciting than sometimes watching them go round and round on tarmac.
Any day in a rally car is a great day.
But the car talk went further than just the day's action. Exciting news could be just around the corner. Now, our country could be seeing more of this in the future as speculation grows about a 2020 round of the World Rally Championship being hosted right here in New Zealand. The last time that happened was in 2012.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. There's a lot of speculation about it, I know.
A branch of the Auckland Council confirmed they'd welcome the event back into the city and said it'd be an exciting addition.
It would be absolutely wonderful. You know, it's just such a magnificent event. and it brings so many tourists and all here. So, you know, it would bring a lot of money into the country and the towns and all.
Canterbury would love it here, but the event will most likely be held in the North Island like it was in 2012.
It's incredible to watch. If you ever get a chance to get out there, go for it.
The prospect of a WRC event in New Zealand is exciting the rally driving community.
I don't know, just hope that Australia can't pull finger and we get it. Should be right.
I think it'd be huge.
We're all about Bring Back Rally New Zealand.
Let's do it. Make it happen.
But for now, fans will make do with the New Zealand Rally Championship, which moves on down to South Canterbury later this month. Stephen Walton, MetroNews.
Extinction Rebellion is a peaceful protest group pushing for New Zealand to see and treat climate change as a serious threat. Isabel Prasad joins us in the studio now with spokesperson Anthony Field. Isabel.
Thank you very much for coming in today. So can you please just tell me a bit about Extinction Rebellion? Thank you.
My pleasure. Extinction Rebellion started about 9 months ago in the UK, and they had a lot of protests in the Global Week of Action, and they effectively shut down London, big parts of London, for almost a week. And that really got the attention of government, and that was really useful in helping most of the UK. First of all, I think Ireland and then Scotland, Wales, and then the whole UK to declare a climate emergency.
And so why did you decide to join the group?
I've been involved in environmental activism for about 9 years now, and for a long time we've been making polite noises and doing some marches and getting people to sign petitions. But I love Extinction Rebellion because it's clear, it's simple, and it's getting stuff done. It's protesting to the point where governments are listening.
And so as a peaceful protest group, how important do you think it is for people to be able to express their voice?
Very important, yep. But also very important to keep it peaceful and keep it respectful.
Definitely. And so what do you say to people who believe climate change doesn't exist?
Read the facts, read the science, it's very clear.
So how did you keep your passion to protest when local government weren't really taking that many actions?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It was hard, and that's why I think I have a lot of passion for Extinction Rebellion. We're a bunch of very dedicated, average, everyday people that want the world to be a better place and a safer place for our children and for their children.
So climate change is now being treated as an emergency in Canterbury. How did you guys feel when this happened?
Elated. It's fantastic. It was wonderful to get Environment Canterbury to declare a climate emergency, and when Christchurch City Council followed shortly afterwards to declare a climate and ecological emergency, that was a huge win.
So since that emergency has been declared, what are the next steps for Extinction Rebellion?
That's a really good point. We want to ensure that both Environment Canterbury and City Council deliver on their promises of behaving like it is an emergency. It's one thing to say it's an emergency, it's another thing to behave as though it is an emergency. We want them to cut their emissions, we want them to really step up and reduce emissions.
And so, just to wrap things up, what advice do you have for young people who are passionate about a topic but don't know how to voice their opinion?
Follow your heart and just keep on trying, keep on doing it.
That's great. Thank you very much for joining us. Back to you.
Thanks, Isabel. Coming up, can harness racing recover from last year's accusations? And we check out Christchurch's drag scene.
My name is Ella Cook. I'm a television production manager in London. I work for a company called Red House Television. I work on property shows, comedy and entertainment. I worked as the production assistant on New Zealand's Got Talent, on Target, on What Now. I came to London nearly 4 years ago now. Didn't have any issues finding a job at all. I went to a company called Hat-Trick Productions. We won a BAFTA last year, as well as were nominated this year. To even be nominated and go to the awards was something I never ever thought that I would ever do. But then to also win it and go up on the BAFTA stage was just a brilliant feeling. I love living in London. Definitely a big change from living in New Zealand. There's so many people, it's so busy and bustling all the time. I also love being able to just go to the theatre or see something different every night. The professionalism that we are taught at broadcasting school really helps in the wider world. I had my degree on my CV as well as the work experience that I'd gained after my internship. I would never have thought that I'd get this far. It's the best thing that I ever did for my career. There's no way that I would be where I am today without the degree that I have.
Welcome back. Harness Racing New Zealand is bouncing back after allegations of race fixing tarnished the industry last year.
13 people are still before the courts, but as Harry Poland reports, it's business as usual at Addington Raceway.
It was a wet and windy day, but race organisers were determined the weather wouldn't put a dampener on the prestigious Harness Jewels.
There's 9 Group 1 races and there's nothing like this in any other racing in New Zealand, thoroughbreds as well. So it's 9 Group 1 harness racing, which is the best of the best in the age group competing against each other on one day.
With quality competition, the stakes are high, and with high stakes comes the risk of cheating. But the harness racing community is convinced that the race-fixing allegations of last year have no place in their sport.
It's awful, really. It's a hard thing to see. Like, you know, we don't think there's any race fixing or anything like that going on in the industry, and it's just a hard thing for everybody that's involved to, you know, have to go through it. It's hard for everybody, really.
Margot Nyan has gone through a lot for the sport she loves. Earlier this year, she was involved in a road accident while transporting horses. One had to be put down.
My partner broke all his vertebrae in his neck, 7 ribs, shoulder blade, so he's been just coming right now, and I had head injury, broken wrist, broken ribs, so yeah, no, it was quite horrific, really.
She can't speak highly enough of the support from others in the industry.
We've been very fortunate because a lot of other trainers and people in the industry have just been amazing and taken over our horses and done work with them. It's just been incredible.
Now well-run, high-calibre meets like the Harness Jewels are helping reinstate the industry's integrity.
Yeah, I think it's really good for the industry at the moment just to put it in a positive light that we can host something like this and yeah, hopefully see the industry in a positive light in mainstream media rather than in a negative light.
Despite the allegations, it's clear the harness racing community are working hard for their sport's future. Harry Poland, MetroNews.
You may not know this, but June is International LGBT+ Pride Month. It's a time for drag queens to celebrate as well. But as Laura Grigg discovers, a lack of venues means the sparkle is a little subdued.
Platform shoes, glitter, wigs, makeup, and more makeup. This is the life of a drag queen.
I just love the attention.
Andrew McKay by day, and tonight, Fantasia Divine.
It's a different way of expressing your true authentic self, which I think is important.
But finding his true self was a journey.
Both internally and externally, you know, having to act one way but feel another. The great thing about drag is we can be both. I can be me, but I can also be somebody else.
Andrew says there aren't enough suitable bars and clubs.
Before the earthquakes, Christchurch had a really good scene. There were, you know, lots of different places for people to just be who they wanted to be.
And special events such as So You Think You Can Drag are changing that.
This event is sold out for the 3rd season running, with over 400 people attending. It is run by Christchurch Pride, an organisation run solely by volunteers, which helps celebrate the diversity in our city.
There were so many people literally screaming out to be part of the drag community and really express who they are and really be themselves and do something different than like mainstream bars. In the future for Christchurch as a whole, I personally would love there to be a space that people could just go and express themselves.
Finally, Fantasia's big moment. A successful night, but organisers want more opportunities for people to come out of the closet. Laura Grigg, MetroNews.
Oliver is here now with the weather. So have we escaped the worst of the cold yet?
Thanks, Courtney, and no we haven't. You'll have to keep those thermals close tomorrow.
The skies were cloudy across the country today with scattered showers in Wellington, Auckland and Christchurch. Tomorrow it'll be a frosty start for Cantabrians but fine through to the afternoon with chilly southerlies developing. A high of 9 and a low of -2. Heading south, Ashburton and Timaru will be waking up to a frost as well. With cold southerlies later on the day, both will have a high of 8. Twiza will be fine with frosts on an overnight low of 5, so we'll wrap up warm. And the same goes for Hamner with a high of 7 and an overnight low of -4. Kaikoura will be having rain showers later that evening and a high of 10 and a low of 0. Oxford will be reaching 10 but dropping to -1 overnight. With most of the south getting a frost tomorrow morning, layer up and be careful driving to work. Back to you, Courtney and Louise.
Thanks, Oliver. And that's all for Metro News tonight.
For those stories and more, head to our website metronews.co.nz or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Join us again tomorrow night at 7. I'm Courtney Winter.
And I'm Louise Sanuth.
Ka kite anō.